This summer, I plan on continuing my native plant garden. Last summer, I stumbled upon a YouTube video from Sag Native Plant Community all about growing a cottagecore native plant garden, and I really fell in love with learning about native plants and all their benefits they can have to the environment and wildlife. So last summer, I did plant like a 10 by 2 area of native plants from a local native plant nursery. This year I do want to do some seed starting on my own, so I did ask for a Prairie Moon Nursery gift certificate for Christmas, and I was lucky enough to get some from my family, and I wanted to share those with you today. There is quite a lot of variety here. I unfortunately can't seem to narrow down the amount of plants that I want to grow, so I just kind of went hog wild and got a lot of them. I do have a color palette for my backyard and do plan on doing some future videos on how I plan to place them and kind of the layout and things like that. So yeah, look forward to those. But this video, I just wanted to share the actual seeds that I got and some of the seeds that I saved from last year. I put them in color order, so hopefully that helps. I'm not sure, I wasn't sure which order to put them in, but that's what I ended up on. The first one is Prairie Smoke, and it looks like straight up out of Dr. Seuss. It's such a unique flower, and I can't wait to grow it. It actually doesn't really fit into my color palette, but I'll be growing it anyway, and it will fit in somehow. Next up are two very similar ones. I have Cardinal Flower and Royal Catchfly. These are really to attract hummingbirds. They're a bright, vibrant red, and they stick up on like a tall stalk and then have the blooms off of it. And I'll be planting these together so that I can extend the red bloom time in the same spot. They are slightly different heights, but I think it will work out. Next is Columbine, which is also a red flower. It is also like such a unique flower shape and coloring that I couldn't pass it up. It is also supposed to attract hummingbirds, which is kind of the intent for the reds. Columbine is a spring ephemeral, which means it's kind of like daffodils, where it blooms early in the spring and then dies back. But Columbine should have some green foliage later in the season, but the flower will die back. Really looking forward to this. I will say, please be careful buying these seeds. They do sell a cultivar at the big box stores that are not red, they're blue, and I think purple too, and their flower looks a little bit different. So if you want to get all the native plant benefits, be sure to buy from an actual native plant seeds or nursery. The first one is Midland Shooting Star, which is a white / maybe a little lilac there, but it's also a spring ephemeral. You'll see like a continuation here that this is also a very unique flower, and it looks so different than any other flower that I've ever seen. Yeah, really looking forward to growing this. Next is Pearly Everlasting, which was a last minute addition to my cart, but it said there was a limit on the number of seeds you could pick, so I don't know, I guess the limited editionness of the marketing got to me. But it's a white with a vibrant yellow center. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about this one because I don't know as much about it, but I'm really looking forward to growing it and adding some more white flecks throughout the garden. Next is Foxglove Beer Tongue, which is also an early bloomer. I think all of the whites are kind of in that vein, and this one's like a very big staple of the prairies that are still around here. They're all planted from conservation nonprofits at this point, but this one I see a lot of around me, and I think they're really beautiful, and they definitely attract a lot of early season pollinators. Next, I have Prairie Pussy Toes, which is a short blooming white flower. I do plan on using this as a ground cover and hopefully even a place for pathways. So I'm not sure if it will hold up to a lot of walking, but maybe in some of the areas that we don't walk over all the time, I plan to put it there as a replacement for a grass pathway, but also keep it as ground cover so that weeds don't grow. Next is Rose Mallow. I call this Hibiscus laevis because it is confusing with swamp mallow, and its Latin name is Hibiscus laevis. I did plant this from plugs last year, and I have a few that I collected, but it's a vibrant white flower, hibiscus flower, that's native to the Midwest, and it has this scarlet center, and it is so beautiful and stunning. And hibiscus are actually native to the area, and you wouldn't think that, but it's really a beautiful flower. Next is anise hyssop, which wasn't in my plant list to begin with, but I've heard so many good things about how many pollinators it attracts, but it's also deer and rabbit resistant. So I plan on planting this outside my fence, which we have a lot of rabbit pressure. I wanted to give this one a try. Next is downy wood mint, which I think is also part of the mint family. And this is a really unique flower as well. It's kind of like got these stacked tiers of flowers that are really beautiful. I think this one is lower blooming at 1 foot, so this kind of can be in the front row or more of a ground cover. Next up, I have the blazing stars, which do grow quite tall, at least the varieties I have, which are meadow blazing star and prairie blazing star. So prairie blazing star is native to my state and county, I believe, where meadow blazing star is maybe 1 state over. I am introducing it into my landscape mostly so that it attracts monarchs. I've heard this is the one that really attracts monarchs more than any other blazing star. So I do plan to mix them up and have a little bit of both there. All right, so next is wild bergamot, which is another stunner of a flower and is also, I believe, part of the mint family. Yeah, I don't have much to say other than this is an absolutely beautiful flower and I can't wait to grow it. Next is the coneflower. So I have pale purple coneflower and just purple coneflower, and I plan to grow these intermixed too so that I can extend the bloom time. So hopefully from like June, it looks like June to September, I can get kind of this coneflower shape together. And then we're moving into the yellows. I have shrubby St. John's wort, which is deer and rabbit resistant as well. And I plan to use these as a shrub next to our fence line to create some privacy and also have some great benefits to the pollinators. And then we have golden alexanders, which is like a really unique shaped flower in terms of it's kind of, I think, umbral shape, kind of umbrella shaped. And it is an early bloomer too, so get some early yellow coloring there. Then we have orange coneflower, which is just part of the Rudbeckia family, which is black-eyed Susans. And this is Rudbeckia fulgida, so I think this one should be a little bit longer lived than the standard Rudbeckia. So excited to have that. I think these bright yellow pops of color are so sunshiny and just remind me of summer. And next we have stiff goldenrod, which I did plant one last year. It didn't quite flower, so I do want to plant more as kind of a backdrop to my New England asters. So yeah, the bright yellow, I'm really looking forward to it. I think these are unique, but can look a little raggedy. By raggedy, I mean they look like ragweed. If you see them in a kind of one of the prairies I was talking about before, they look like ragweed. I don't want to plant a ton of these, but I do hope that they look like a really beautiful backdrop to kind of that bright purple from the New England aster. And last but not least, I have butterfly weed, which is the only pop of orange I could find in the native plant world, and I absolutely love orange and would love to have way more orange in my garden than I have now. And so I plan to plant these in front. They're a low growing plant. Yeah, it says 2 feet here, but I've seen them mostly at 1 foot. And yeah, I do want more milkweeds to attract monarchs, but I've never seen a monarch actually go to the butterfly milkweed. So that's a shame, but I do just love the orange so much that I'm going to do it. Who knows, when I plant all those blazing stars, then hopefully I can attract more monarchs to the area. Yeah, I did mention that I planted a few plants from plugs last year and I did collect some seeds. So I wanted to go through those with you now. So I did already talk about hibiscus laevis, the native hibiscus. I did grow that one and it did bloom, but I didn't collect that many seeds from it. So that's why I ended up buying another packet. But hopefully I can grow a lot this year. Next is swamp milkweed. So I did mention that I was trying to attract monarchs with the butterfly milkweed and the blazing stars. So I did plant some swamp milkweed from plugs last year and they grew really well and they bloomed and I collected a ton of seeds. So I didn't need to buy anymore, but I do plan on planting way more swamp milkweeds around. I do think they're like a beautiful rosy color that is more vibrant than the common milkweed that you would see. Their seed pods are not as aggressive as the common milkweed either. All right, next up is the New England aster. So I do plan on planting these bright, vibrant asters with the goldenrods as kind of a bright pop of purple and yellow together. So I did plant one and I did get some blooms on it. It was quite short, but yeah, happy to see some blooms and plan on planting some more. All right, and last but not least is scarlet bee balm. I did plant this from plugs last year. I got one flower late in the season that I could collect seeds from, and So I did, but I don't know how viable they are because it was very late in the season, like November. And so I plan on planting these, but Prairie Moon Nursery didn't have any seed packets for sale. So I don't know how I'm gonna get more Scarlet Bee Balm, but I definitely love that pop of red like I talked about before. So I want to plant more of these around everywhere. I think the Monardas are so beautiful and easy to grow and deer and rabbit resistant, which is like specifically what I'm looking for. All right, and last but not least, I did plant a few grasses last year and I plan to get a few more this year, but not from seed. I would just buy those from plugs. Last year I bought, I think 3 little blue stem plugs. So I have a little blue stem packet here that I'll grow from seed. Hopefully I can get some big blue stem plugs this year as well to be a great backdrop for the garden because they're very tall, but also, yeah, a beautiful grass. Also from Prairie Moon, bought some mycorrhizal inoculant. So I will be starting seeds like today. I think I'm already behind on some of them that need a long cold stratification. So join me on my native garden journey. I think I'll also have a video on my seed starting, which I've never done. You're just kind of coming along with my hobbies with me, not a tutorial. And also, yeah, the actual planning of the garden itself with the colors and the layout and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, really looking forward to it.